In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. As we read or listen to this book of Job, it's as if we are part of the audience in a theatre, watching Job's terrible suffering, listening to his words and to the words of his less than helpful friends. Today we're at the point in the play where Job pictures himself in a court of law. He is the defendant, arguing the case for his innocence against God, who is the prosecutor, whom Job imagines is bringing these charges against him. And in the same way that a barrister in a court of law gets to make a closing speech, so Job makes his. The words we heard from chapter 31 make up part of that speech, where Job says that he has done nothing wrong that he can think of, although he does not claim to be without sin. At the beginning of the book of Job, at the start of the play, the audience heard God say that Job is a blameless and upright man, that there is no one on earth as good as him. So it is that when Job claims that he has not harmed anyone, that he hasn't even wished harm on anyone, and that he has helped everyone that he could, then we know that what he says is correct, that it is true. There is a psalm, Psalm 26, which says, "Test me, Lord, and try me. Examine my heart and mind, for I have always been mindful of your unfailing love and have lived in reliance on your faithfulness." These are words of a righteous person. In a similar way, Job is asking God to examine his life, to show him where he has messed up, because that is the only explanation for why he is suffering in this way. It seems in many ways that he may even agree with his friends that he must have sinned in order for him to have suffered as he has, although we, as the audience, know that this is not true. We can examine ourselves, and we will surely find ways in which we have sinned, either in our own doing or as part of humanity as a whole. We can examine the church and find that it too is guilty of sin. We are guilty of plundering the earth, of benefiting from the slave trade, of shaming and rejecting members of the LGBTQ community, of racism and anti-Semitism. We seek God's mercy because we need it. I know that I need to recognise the part that I play in the suffering of the world, and to say sorry for that and to do something about that. From the clothes I wear to the food I eat, to the car I drive, to the words I say, and to the things that I laugh at, I need to pay attention to whether these things are causing hurt and harm to others. If they are, then I need to say sorry, and I need to do something about that. I need to change what I do. I hope you will join me in examining yourself. It's not a comfortable exercise to have sin exposed, but there is mercy and there is grace through Jesus Christ, who was crucified for the sins of the world, for your sin and for mine. There is forgiveness from God when we seek it. In the stage play, Job has concluded his speech, and you wait to see if God replies. The audience eventually hears the sound of a storm approaching. The wind rises. Job's cloak starts to flap around him. And on the platform, high above the stage, the lighting begins to rise, and you see God sitting there. We haven't seen God since the beginning of the play. We may have forgotten that he is there. And when God speaks, you may have expected him to punish Job, to be angry with Job for his arrogant attitude. You may expect him to smite Job from the earth, as it were. Instead, God simply asks Job some big questions which cannot be answered. God says, "Were you there when I laid the foundations of the earth?" The only possible answer to that is no. The result of God's questions is a gentle humbling of Job, who had dared to invite God to defend himself. God doesn't answer Job's questions or our questions about suffering. Instead, God raises Job's eyes away from himself to the world around him and to the heavens above, to the Creator God who made all these things, to the majestic God who is far and beyond anything Job or we could ever imagine. From our own place of humility, we place our sin, our sorrow, our suffering and the suffering of the world into Jesus' hands. In return, he offers us forgiveness for the past and hope for the future. The Holy Spirit comes to encourage us and to guide us into a new way of living, a new way of seeing ourselves, a new way of seeing others. God can change us as he comforts us. God can transform our world through us, a world which is so badly in need of transformation. To God's name be all the praise and all the glory forever. Amen.